Well everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the Google Pixel 2 XL and see how this phone holds up, I guess in the later part of 2022. Now, I don't really think this phone is necessarily worth buying anymore, but I do think it's a very solid phone that Google made a few years ago, and I think at this point, this was probably one of the high points of any Nexus or Google phone of all time. I think at this point, for this 2017 phone, to have this type of design was beautiful. Unfortunately, they messed it up with the Pixel 3 XL, but this phone is still holding up decent. It's just unsupported with software. That's kind of the best way to describe it. Now, we have this design which still looks very good. I think compared to the Pixel 7 Pros, there's a lot of overlap for sure. You can kind of see how maybe the slim bezels on the front, the design a little bit could be at least similar to a Pixel 7 Pro. Maybe that's kind of a stretch now to think about it. You have USB-C on the bottom, which is beautiful. You have the, glass back with aluminum, which was so nice as well. You had eSIM support on this phone too from 2017, which is very interesting. You had IP67 dust and water resistance, and overall the design and the way this phone feels is definitely a high point. As I mentioned for so many years now, personally, when I had something like, a Pixel 2 XL, it's always given me a very solid experience, and I do think personally that is, again, one of the high points of the Pixel series in general. Now, you have that camera set up on the back, which isn't horrible. It's a single 12.2 megapixel lens, 4K at 30, 1080p on the front. Same old, but definitely not a bad camera by any means either. Now, the software longevity is the thing that's kind of throwing me off the most. I mean, this phone is unsupported with software. There are definitely a ton of mods and different things like that throughout, but when you have the Pixel 2 XL, you're kind of outdated when it comes down to it. So that is kind of a disadvantage here. Again, I don't think it's like a end-all be-all. I don't think it's a reason why you shouldn't be buying this phone, but if you're planning on using this phone as an everyday device, that would be a reason why I wouldn't recommend buying it. I think that would definitely be causing some issues, especially when you have something like the Pixel 6a and the Pixel 5a, even the Pixel 4a that are still supported with software, and they're much cheaper phones, and than even they're about the same price as this thing in the used market. So you definitely have more options than just this thing. That for sure I can definitely tell you that. So personally, that is another pretty big thing to keep in mind as well. Now, another massive thing is actually with the the performance. It's actually not that bad of a performing phone still, which is actually pretty crazy. So this thing had, the best chipset of that year. Now the A35 really isn't that great of a performing chipset anymore, but at that time, it was actually pretty good. So I think that's another pretty awesome thing about this phone. I do think though, when it comes down to it, if you're getting a phone like the Pixel 2 XL, I wouldn't be using this phone as an everyday phone. Unless you were to custom ROM it, then you can get a newer version, but even then you're getting an even glitchier version of software potentially. So there's big trade-offs either way. I personally, like I said, would recommend avoiding something like the Pixel 2 XL, but I do think this is a very impactful phone. I think this thing brought a ton of things to the table. And when I do look at this phone now, and I compare it, mentally to the Pixel, 7, I think there's a lot of overlap, and I'm actually really happy with the way Google ended up making a phone like this back in 2017. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.